radio presentation. Christina Simpkins and my father, Ron Simpkins, professional landscape artist for over 40 years. So, Ron, tell me about yourself.
Well, I started painting at a very early age. My father was a well-recognized Canadian watercolorist and artist, and I believe his very early influence in my life had a lot to do with me becoming an artist.
Okay.
The influences you have at a very early age, I'm talking 5, 6 years old and up, have, I firmly believe, a very strong impact on your future.
You're right.
I started painting outdoors, en plein air painting. I was very fortunate because, as again I mentioned, my father, Henry Simpkins, ARCA, took me with him on his painting trips, and therefore exposed me at a very early age, the tender age of 8 or 9 years old, to get the experience of en plein air painting at such an early age. And of course this continued for a number of years, and they say painting is in the blood, and it sure is. It becomes a passion, and
especially since it derived from your father.
Well, yes. Again, I go back to that very early influence, which very few potential artists ever achieve. Most artists, I imagine, develop an interest in art over the years through education and whatnot, and go to a university and whatnot, either become teachers or professional artists. In my case, because my father, again, was a painter, and he did help me out, of course, and taught me a few things that I became what I am.
Okay, so what's your special technique here? What would you call your style of painting?
Well, I've always been, again at a very early age, introduced to landscape, and that is light. I've always had a passion for light, feeling empathy for light, wonderment.
Almost like Monet, then.
Yes, I would say so. It's something that comes from within you, or from maybe a previous lifetime. Who knows? We don't know that, but as it turned out, that my empathy with landscape and nature, natural light, that is, and also involves natural color, tones, shades, and composition.
Okay.
That's en plein air, as being with the nature and feeling the vibrations of nature,
yeah,
which I think is very important. And be it in the woods, I've been exposed to, at least I'm fascinated with, a tremendous variety of nature and landscape. With skies, water. I have a particular fascination with water. At least that's what I'm known for. The reflections, they still hold to me a magnetic quality, different sort of surface texture of nature than any other texture in nature.
Yeah, I see in your paintings that have water in them, your reflections are very much in color and tone.
Well, it's basically a mirror of all water is really. There's no real phenomenal secret here, but when you look at water, all it is a reflection of what's above it, the sky, trees, etc. There are certain laws of light and tone as the water comes closer to you in perspective. There's a perspective of water. These follow very exact mechanical laws.
Yeah.
Of mathematics, basically. A lot of work that I do with water is very technical, actually. But to create the effect of water, collectors have told me that my water is wet. Very interesting.
What do you mean by wet?
Well, that means it has the real feeling of water. To have the real feeling of it, you must be...
The pure effect of it.
You must have the real mechanics of optics of what water really is. then, of course, I play around with the compositions and things like that to give a more appealing effect of water, you might say.
Okay.
But basically, water is a reflection of the sky, or that's all it really is on the surface of it. But as the water comes closer to you in perspective, as nearer it is to you, it becomes a little redder. All the tones are a little redder.
Okay.
Just a touch, just a hair, really. But that difference makes the real effect of reality what it really is. Now, photography is often tried to capture water. However, due to the very subtle tones in water, has really been, I think, unable to give it its true justice, which only a real artist like myself can do. Yes.
And your life as an artist, your friends, etc. Have you met a lot of, how should I say this, important people along the way who have, other than your father, influenced you, artist friends?
Yes, I've met a few people. You always meet in the artistic community a rather wide variety of people in the cultural backgrounds. It's the nature of the business of art. You know, when you enter the business, painting, what I do, I'm a professional landscape painter. I'm part of an industry like anything else, whether shoes or airplanes or whatever. The thing is producing a work of art, a painting. Okay. And there's a huge industry that produces paintings, basically, by artists. And it's no different than other industries, really. As far as the mechanics of it go, you make a product and you have a market, you try and sell it in that market.
Yeah.
People like it. Fine.
Great.
People do not like it. Well, that's...
You just got to keep on going.
It's the artist's prerogative to keep on going his own way and maybe make an income from something else because they don't like his paintings. Very fortunately for me, I have chosen a subject, landscape, nature, which is very basic, very essential. And I'll say a little bit about that later.
Okay.
Because I have developed something called Essentialism along the way.
Okay. Now, once again, for our listeners, I'm here with Ron Simpkins, a professional artist for over 40 years. Now, Ron, why don't you tell me a little bit about this Essentialism and not keep us hanging here?
Well,
is this a new theory? Or?
Yes. This is basically a philosophy, you might say, that I have arrived at. It is the result of my many experiences with nature over the past 40 some odd years. It's not developed overnight, but it is an accumulation of many observations that I have made along my path in life, which has been, of course, the, you might say observation or close observation. You might even say meditation in nature, or of nature. You see, very few people, when they go outside to look at a beautiful scene or whatever, go for a walk. Not too many people do these days, unfortunately. But anyway, people look at a beautiful sunset or whatever it is, and they might take a photograph of it or whatever and say, oh, that's beautiful, and then it's on to the next thing. Very few people actually spend the time to meditate, that is to concentrate, to focus on, and spend a lot of time studying. And that's what we call, that's what I would consider meditation. It's a form of meditation. En plein air painting is, I study a subject in nature. I study nature for a very concentrated period of time, over a period of, let's say, 4 or 5 hours. Very few people do that activity, you might say, that action. Most people, it's a fleeting moment of, oh, that's nice, and then they're on to the next scene in nature. Whereas I tend to stop the clock, so to speak, and focus and meditate. And from that one particular scene, it may be a light effect, may be a certain feeling of, for instance, a breeze, a gentle wind, many facets that nature gives us off. A feeling of peace is an example.
Almost like a vibe.
It's a vibration, absolutely. All nature gives off vibrations. And unless you are tuned to those vibrations, you'll miss out on the whole show here.
Okay.
And unfortunately, most people have missed that because they don't really focus on, we have a thing called transcendental meditation, which is something similar, but they don't focus strictly on nature itself, being involved inside nature, or outside, I should say, but outside of nature, we build buildings of glass and steel and many elements which isolate ourselves from nature. Right. We, as a society now, society, for the first time in history, at large, society has become aware of the obstruction they have placed on nature. Become aware, I think is the better word, of the essence of nature, how absolutely, totally dependent we are on, like, air, water, the vibrations of nature, the harmony of nature. Okay. If we are to continue as a species. Oh. Therefore, I'm wrapping this up by saying that
Essentialism is almost...
Essentialism, a philosophy that I have developed, or I'm still in the process of developing, actually, will play, I believe, a very important role in this next century.
Wow. Well, once again, I thank you, Ron Simpkins, for being here with me today.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. And this is, once again, Christina Simpkins doing an interview with Mr. Ron Simpkins, professional artist for over 40 years. Thank you very much.